Welcome back to the Smugsy Show. I'm Smugsy, your host, identifying as the Barstool Cougar. Every Wednesday, we meet here to talk about important things and important people. This week, we're going to check in on Kirk Minihane's new real crime podcast, The Case, and how it could affect, in a positive way, your mental health. And we'll take a sneak peek at the upcoming May photo exhibit that I'm very excited about. But first, there's an important announcement from a prominent women's group about Dave Portnoy and his political future. The election for president in 2028 may seem far away, but for the Cougars, the exclusive Barstool fan club for women who like dogs, our minds are made up. We believe Dave Portnoy should be president of the United States in 2028 because of his family values, his unique ability to make us laugh while making us rich, and more importantly, he will continue to unite the country, the Cougars said in a statement released to the press this morning. The Cougars remain and always have been a bipartisan organization, I might just add. We have in the past endorsed as Cougar of the Week former First Lady Melania Trump, as well as current Vice President Kamala. We named Cougar of the Week Liz Cheney, Republican from Wyoming, Queen Elizabeth, Eva Longoria, Democratic activist, all of these women across the political spectrum for their achievement, contributions to society, politics, and culture, and their moral compass and courage to stand for their convictions even when times are tough. And it's for those same values that we are pleased to endorse El Presidente, Dave Portnoy, for president. Portnoy so eloquently captured the nation's sentiment when he spoke with Ben Shapiro on April 24th and said, quote, Trump broke so many people's brains. I mean, right? It just captures, I think, the national ethos and says it in a way that is presidential. Portnoy said the way he handled the Capitol, really bad. El Presidente, on ex-presidente. And on race, Portnoy, it's a hot-button issue he's often accused of dodging. He couldn't have been more black and white. In speaking with Ben Shapiro, Dave Portnoy said, quote, I think there's a ton of credibility to how African Americans are treated in this country. You look at the Capitol. I think if those were all black people rushing the Capitol, they would have been shot. I believe it in my heart. There is racism here. Straight talk from a straight-up guy who bought his parents' house and likes dogs. So, after careful deliberation and contemplation about what we need in America, Dave Portnoy said what many of us know to be true, and that is that both sides suck. The center will hold. And most importantly, when he said, quote, I don't think it would be good if Trump runs for president again. Whether he's right or wrong, he would divide us again. I hope that doesn't happen. The Republican Party can find people who will unite us. Hear, hear, Mr. Portnoy. We found our guy. Dave Portnoy has good parents, skinny jeans, a keen sense of humor, and the Midas touch. And more importantly, again, he's a dog person. For these reasons and more, the Cougars commit to working hard in the coming 2,745 days till the election to get him in the White House. You can help by supporting the Cougars for Portnoy PAC, the Cougar PAC for Portnoy. Contact me for details or send a check. And now, a word about your mental health. Are you someone who struggles to empathize with people who are depressed? Maybe you have a friend or family member whose chronic mental illness really annoys you. There's a little bubble in your head that just wants to say, get over it, get some fresh air, snap out of it. It's not your fault. It's what you were taught by your parents, that depression is for weaklings. Rugged individuals don't sculpt their shoulders to be cried on. Your mother probably said or insinuated, and certainly your father did. But the thing is, everywhere you look these days, if you are a rugged individual, everyone else is depressed. Millions and millions of people identify as being depressed. So if you are a rugged individual, it's lonely. You're left out. You feel left out. Here's a tip. Listen to the Kirk Minihane Real Crime Podcast, The Case, and you will feel authentically 100% depressed. I mean, you'll experience it, full-blown depression, and you'll be able to empathize. You'll fit in. I guarantee it, no longer will you be left out. You'll feel chronically sad and empty inside like everyone else. And I know, because I listened to the podcast last night, and I went to bed in despair, cried myself to sleep. Nightmares about life outside my suburban New England bubble. The Case, it's a dark story with a dark cast of forlorn and pathetic characters. It takes place in Walhalla, South Carolina, the White House in Walhalla, meth central. Damaged and addicted girls go there to die mysterious deaths that nobody cares about until the podcast starts trending. The only thing worse than the pathetic cast of cretin characters in The Case is the disinterested and incompetent law enforcement who didn't really investigate and didn't want to get their hands dirty in all the grit and ashes of the burnt bodies. I mean, there's so many questions that have to be answered in the last 4 episodes. I mean, was Kevin Craig hot shot by Kevin Mailer, given a dose of tainted meth purposely to knock him off, left in his camper to die, decompose down a dirt road in Craigville, where the matriarch Karen apparently didn't notice her son dead in a trailer next door for a few days, decomposing. And apparently Kevin Craig's another suspected victim of Kevin Mailer, the meth-selling domestic abuser, gun-toting whack job, who apparently took out Jennifer Faye, April Jones, and Faith Roach. I mean, there's just a lot of questions. I mean, one question that comes to mind, a real, I think, deep question, philosophical question. What is justice for Kevin Mailer if he's found, thanks to this podcast, to be guilty? He killed a series of people who society had forgotten about and would rather continue to forget about. I mean, is life in jail, life in prison for Kevin Mailer actual social mobility because of how low a life he exists currently? I mean, there's so many questions. What happened to the rest of the Cretan cast in the remaining 4 weeks is unknown, but we know Kirk and Steve survived, which is good. And really the most important question that's on the mind of most listeners is what this Case podcast is going to do for Kirk Minihane's career at Barstool Sports. I mean, is he going to become so depressed with doing the podcast that he retires and becomes king of trivia? Or will investigative journalism become his cri de coeur, and he'll win a Pulitzer Prize? Perhaps if Dave Portnoy is elected president and Minihane solves these crimes, he'll be attorney general. I mean, it could happen, right? Look at Dogecoin. It started out as a joke. You never know. We'll keep you posted here on the Smugsy Show. That's one thing you can take to the bank. So, coming soon to our May photo exhibit on OnlyFans. Here's a hint of the exhibit that I put together this month that I think you'll like. The first shoot was called Define Yourself, and there's others. For exclusive photos, you can follow us on OnlyFans and support the arts. If you want to get a hint or a taste of the photo art that our show produces, go to Smugsy's studio on the website syndicatemedia.net. There you'll find all your favorite Smugsy Show content, as well as contact information if you want to reach out to the show. And that's it. Look for a live show, I promise, about Smugsiggies and the exciting developments of bringing Smugsiggies to market. This show, the Smugsy Show, is brought to you by Smugsiggies, sleek and elegant ciggies made with organic cannabis, grown, rolled in delicate sheaths of locally sourced all-natural paper. Look for Smugsiggies in the marigold and indigo packs. Subscribe to the Smugsy Show on YouTube. Leave a comment. Follow me on Twitter @SmugsyGirl. And until next time, this is Smugsy signing off. Take care.